The walls are high. The fences crowned with coils of razor wire glint in the fading sun. Beyond them, inside the world's largest prison, live tens of thousands of men. Some guilty, some forgotten, some who never had a fair trial. Locked away from society, their world is already one of steel, shadows, and survival. But what if the end of the world didn't start on the outside? What if the apocalypse began right here, in this place already designed to contain chaos? Picture this, a single prison stretching for miles, packed far beyond capacity. Guards move nervously through corridors where the noise never stops. Metal doors slam, shouts echo, and the atmosphere feels less like punishment and more like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Now imagine the first signs of collapse happening not in cities, not in capitals, but behind these very bars. The outbreak, the war, or the disaster, whatever form it takes, starts here, among the forgotten. What would that look like? The first hours would be confusing. A blackout cuts power to the facility. Floodlights flicker and die. Gates lock in place, leaving prisoners and guards trapped in the same darkness. Rumors spread faster than truth. Is it an earthquake, a terrorist attack, or something worse? In the silence between panicked voices, you hear distant explosions. Outside the prison walls, the world is falling apart. But inside, it is only the beginning. The guards try to restore order, but order is fragile in a place like this. Radios go silent. Reinforcements never arrive. The chain of command shatters. Inmates sense weakness, and the balance of power shifts. Some cling to the guards for protection. Others see their chance at freedom. And as the lines blur, you have to wonder, what would you do in that moment, trapped inside the largest cage on Earth when the outside world itself has collapsed? The apocalypse has a cruel way of inverting power. Those who once lived in control suddenly find themselves powerless. Guards who once commanded fear become outnumbered, desperate, and hunted. Prisoners, once powerless, taste freedom through chaos. Steel doors are broken open. Cell blocks flood with men who haven't walked outside in decades. But is it freedom or a death sentence? Because outside those gates, the world is no longer the same. Imagine stepping out of the prison walls into a city already burning. Streets littered with wreckage, fire spreading, skies heavy with smoke. The guards are no longer protectors. The state is gone. Survival belongs to whoever takes it. Now, thousands of inmates roam together, bound by nothing but hunger, rage, and the instinct to survive. Do they scatter, blending into the collapse? Or do they march as a force, a moving wall of desperation that the weakened world cannot stop? And think about the scale. The world's largest prison isn't 100 men. It isn't 1,000. It's tens of thousands. Entire armies of desperate people suddenly unleashed at the exact moment when society is most vulnerable. They are not armed with tanks or planes, but with numbers, with fury, with nothing left to lose. What city could withstand such a wave? Inside the prison, not everyone sees chaos as opportunity. There would be leaders rising, carving control out of the panic. Gangs seizing weapons, drugs, and supplies. Charismatic voices promising protection in exchange for loyalty. Small kingdoms forming inside the crumbling blocks. And with every passing hour, the prison ceases to be an institution of order and transforms into a fortress of warlords. What if the apocalypse doesn't destroy the prison, but instead turns it into the new seat of power, a dark capital born from collapse? Picture yourself standing in that prison yard, the sky glowing red, helicopters crashing in the distance. You're surrounded by thousands of men, shouting, pushing, running. Some are predators, hunting the weak. Some are protectors, defending scraps of food. And you, caught between them, must decide. Do you side with the guards, clinging to the last fragments of the old world? Or do you follow the gangs, surrendering to the brutal laws of survival? In a place already built on violence, who can you trust? Days turn to weeks. The world outside is silent now. Cities fall, governments vanish. But inside the prison, a new order takes root. Weapons are fashioned from scraps of steel. Old rivalries become wars over control of water, electricity, and food. The strongest gang controls the yard, while others are forced into servitude. Guards, once rulers, are either absorbed into this new world or executed as symbols of the past. The lines between inmate and officer blur until all that remains are survivors. But not all stories here are dark. In the ruins of the prison, some find unexpected humanity. Men who once hated each other now stand shoulder to shoulder against common threats. Old divisions dissolve because the apocalypse doesn't care about past crimes. In the face of extinction, even killers can become allies. Perhaps in this crucible, redemption is possible. Perhaps the prison becomes a place not of punishment, but of rebirth. Could the apocalypse turn prisoners into the first architects of a new society? Or is that hope just another illusion, waiting to be shattered by violence? The outside world, meanwhile, is not blind. Satellites still orbit. Drones still fly. Other nations still watch. Imagine the shock as the world sees that the largest prison on Earth has not fallen apart, but risen as a fortress. Tens of thousands of survivors behind razor wire, organized, armed, ready. Would other nations try to destroy it before it grows too strong? Or would they negotiate, recognizing this prison state as a new power? History is full of empires that rose from chaos. Why not here? Why not now? And then comes the hardest question. What if you were one of them? Stripped of law, stripped of labels, forced to survive with only the choices in front of you. Would you cling to morality when morality itself has collapsed? Would you try to build a new order, even if it meant ruling by fear? Or would you simply run, escaping the prison walls into the wasteland beyond, never looking back? The apocalypse is often imagined as zombies, as nuclear fire, as alien invasions. But sometimes the most terrifying vision is not the supernatural. It is human nature, unleashed. The largest prison in the world is already a powder keg. It holds within it the ingredients of survival and destruction. All it would take is one spark to turn it into the epicenter of the end. And if that spark comes, it will not be just a story of inmates and guards. It will be a mirror held up to the world. Because prisons are not separate from society, they are a reflection of it. They show us our justice, our failures, our fears. If the apocalypse begins here, it is not simply the collapse of a prison. It is the collapse of everything we built to control the darkest parts of ourselves. So what happens if the end of the world starts behind bars? Does the prison become humanity's last fortress or its first grave? The answer is not simple, because the apocalypse is never just about survival. It is about who we become when survival is all that's left. One day, history may look back and ask, when the walls fell, when the gates opened, when the world's largest prison became the birthplace of the apocalypse, did we witness the rise of a new empire, or the final proof that we were never more than prisoners ourselves? The future of that story lies not in walls or gates or barbed wire. It lies in choices made in silence, in darkness, when no one is watching. And in the end, the question is not whether the apocalypse could begin in the world's largest prison. The question is, what would you do when it does?